Good evening and welcome to Dodgers Dogs. I'm waiting on Chase Whiska. He'll be in here in just a minute. So, hey, if you're with us right here, if you just watched our feature on our farm system just a minute ago, the Dodgers Daily feature there, about to hop on Chase is. He had a little bit of a deal there, so he's about to hop on. Good evening, Mike. How are you doing this evening? Excited for this show. We're going to talk all about several different things. Our show notes here tonight. Okay, we're going to talk about the boom or bust offense. It seems like the Dodgers score a lot of runs, but they're only 6-6 to this point. Why is that? We're going to dive into that a little bit more. Okay, as a matter of fact, 69 runs to this point, second most in baseball, but only 6-6. Okay, so I did a little bit of research on the ratio between runs scored and home runs. We're going to get into, some of the teams that have the highest ratios as far as the runs being scored by home runs and how those teams have done, not just the Dodgers, and kind of, explain how all of that has gone. And then we're also going to talk about the Dodgers team ERA is 15th in the league, okay? So we're going to talk about the starters. We're going to talk about the bullpen. Okay, obviously, there's been some leaks here and there. There's been, as far as your 4 and 5 starter spot, and then there's been some leaks in the bullpen lately. So, we're going to talk about certain spots in the rotation, what needs to happen as far as to shore those things up. We're going to talk about the bullpen. What do you think needs to happen with the bullpen to get it all shored up? And then we're going to talk, specifically about all the individuals and all the guys at AAA Oklahoma City who, might be available if the Dodgers feel like they need to call somebody up to shore up either the bullpen or the starting rotation. Okay, so then we're going to go through all the Oklahoma City relievers that would be, readily available to come call up if the Dodgers wanted to call somebody up. And again, like I said, we're going to talk about the 4th and 5th starter positions. Hey, we're also going to dive into Max Muncy and Christaylor. We're going to talk about basically the types of seasons they're having so far, and we're going to talk about, hey, how long can the Dodgers go with production like that? So that's going to be our show for today. And then also we're going to talk about, some of the position players that are threatening to come up to Oklahoma City if needed. We're going to talk about who they might be. If the Dodgers wanted to pull up, say somebody to play third base for Max Muncy because, they're going to sit him down for a couple days because his production isn't great, then, okay, who might it be? We're going to go over some of those guys. And also, I know Mike and Mitch will be happy about this. We're going to talk about our catcher at AAA, Hunter Fiducia. So good evening to everybody. Hopefully we have a good crowd tonight. Good evening, Austin. Good evening, Mike. So that is our topic for this evening. Even with Muncy's game the other night, I'm still not sold on him yet. Yeah, well, the thing about Max Muncy is that he has been obviously, he's been cold, but then he's been all in bunches. You had the first game of the season. Here's Chase right here. So I think we're going to admit Chase here in just a second. Then I'm going to flip back over, and then we will have him on the screen. Chase, I am live right now, so we're going to transition over to you right there. Okay, here comes the transition, so hopefully that shows up. And I think we are good to go right there. Chase, you got me?
Yes, sir. You got me?
Yeah, I think you're a little loud, though. Go ahead and say go Dodgers or something like that so we can get you a mic check here.
Go Dodgers.
Okay, yeah. You might back up your mic just a touch, but okay, hey, we went over some of the show notes. So, hey, welcome back into Chase with Whiska. Glad to have you back and haven't had you in a couple weeks. So first of all, I know you're right in the middle of your busy baseball season. So kind of give us a little bit of update on that. I know you coached Jackson Holiday last year, so that was fun.
Yeah, man, it's going well. Had a tough loss tonight, district loss.
You played it on Wednesday.
Do what?
You played it on Wednesday.
We did. So we got through 3 innings of our game on Monday, and Mother Nature decided to shut us down. So we picked up right where we left off today, or on Wednesday. Good Lord. We picked up right where we left off on Monday today.
Yeah, it's
been one of those weeks.
Who'd you play?
Bartlesville.
Oh, really? Were you at Bartlesville?
We were at Bartlesville yesterday.
That's the coolest stadium of all time. Old minor league. That's not minor league, but old semi-pro, facility. And it's got all that brick backstop, and then they put like $2 million into it about 10 years ago. Dungeon Stadium, been there a million times.
Yeah, it's a beautiful facility, man. It definitely has an old-time feel to it.
Okay, man, you've got the show notes, so let's dive right into this. Okay, the boom or bust offense for the Dodgers. And you and I, Chase, we are not fans of relying on home runs for your scoring, and that's pretty much what the Dodgers have done. Okay, check this out. The Dodgers have scored 69 runs. That's the second most in all of baseball, but they're only 6-6. Okay, so I'm going to get into some more specifics here in a minute, but check this out. Okay, if you look at the other teams, okay, so of the other teams that are higher than the Dodgers, as far as, they rely on the home runs to score runs with, of the teams that actually have a higher ratio than the Dodgers, as far as that go, the records are 24-22. Okay, so that just goes to show you the teams that are relying on the home runs the most are right about 500 teams. And one of those teams, Chase, is Tampa Bay, who's 11-0. So if you take Tampa Bay out of that equation, your record goes down to 13-22.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you?
The long ball is not something to hang your hat on. It definitely helps, but I will say this, I'm not a Rays fan or anything like that, but what they've done so far is extremely impressive.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, and I'll tell you what, Dodger related, how about Luke Raley?
Yeah.
Luke Raley,
yeah.
I had a chance to actually talk to make that 12-0 now. Yeah, the Rays are 12-0 now. I guess they won tonight, but Luke Raley, I got a chance to talk to him a couple years ago. He got traded. Let's see, who was in that trade? Who came? I think it was Tanner Dodson that the Dodgers got for Luke Raley. Tanner Dodson has the 100-mile-an-hour fastball, two-way player at Cal. Still one of those guys that, the fastball, it might end up a strike and it might end up in Canada, one of those type guys. So kind of wild, Still trying to figure it out in Double-A Tulsa. But Luke Raley, good for him. I love that guy. He actually was going to be a special ed teacher, if he wasn't a ball player, which is cool for us because I was a special ed teacher for 18 years. You're a special ed teacher now.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. It must have something to do with special ed and baseball. Must go hand in hand some way.
Keep things simple.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, but that's kind of interesting. I had no idea.
Yep. Okay, so what are your thoughts on the boom or bust offense for the Dodgers so far? Okay, just kind of give us your analysis of, okay, it seems like the Dodgers scored 1 million runs this game, not very many the next. It's wildly inconsistent. Okay, and I know that, being a high school guy, you got to be a little bit more immediate because you only get 37 games. So the games, it's kind of like the 2020 season where every game mattered more.
Right.
So we have a little bit more immediacy from that goes, but panic buttons yet? Are you making mountains out of molehills, or is it just one of those deals that, hey, just chill, let baseball play out? Where are you at with that?
Man, because it's baseball, I'm just going to say let it play out. But at the same time, it's like, man, you can't rely on home runs to win you games. You can't. It's the Rays that it's worked out for. But outside of them, you take their record away, like you said, and they're not even 500. All those other teams, it's 23 and something, I believe is what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that just goes to show you can't rely on the home run ball all the time. But individually, I don't want to say it. Max Muncy's lighting it up right now.
Yeah.
But
hey,
boy,
it is what it is, man. He's struggling. Not hitting the ball. Neither is Christaylor.
I know. I'm curious to see if that opens up a door for Michael Busch.
Yeah. Well, the interesting part of that is, do you move Miguel Vargas back to third and let Michael Busch play second base, or they've been hitting ground balls to Michael Busch at third? I think I would move. Say if you're going to just give Muncy a week off and you're going to pull Michael Busch up, okay, so which way do you go? I think I would just put Vargas back at third and let Busch play second base. I think that's the way I would go.
Yeah, that's what I would do too. That's truly where their comfort is. And I'd say those are their more primary spots. And Vargas has played a really, really good second base. He's doing pretty well, especially for a rookie, which is not really a surprise to us, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I don't know. I don't know. I'm happy that Muncy's finally picked it up over the past couple games, but he
One
he
game,
definitely
yeah.
he proved me right the first I don't know how many games where he couldn't even touch anything.
Yeah, and it's just so, I mean, it's just so all or nothing. I mean, it's just, you know, Coach Chappell and I were talking about this. Coach Chappell's in the Oklahoma Secondary Schools Activities Association Hall of Fame. Over 500 wins as a coach. And we were talking about this yesterday. And I was actually his assistant for 18 years. So, yeah, so and he's our AD now. So we talk quite a bit. I know you got to talk to him a lot while you were there at Guthrie too, Chase. But, we were talking, hey, if you got a guy that's going to hit 500, at the high school level, do you want him to be 2 for 4 every day or 0 for 4 one day and 4 for 4 the next? As a coach, it's easier to win games to me if guys are more consistent.
Yeah, absolutely. I would go with the 2 for 4 guy 100% of the time. Especially if you got other guys that aren't producing. It's if you have a guy that has 4 hits, that's great. But what if everybody else is over? I mean, how does that help you out? But when you consistently know that when this guy gets up, he's going to get at least 1 or 2 hits a game,
or at least hit the ball or hit it hard. I mean, it's
right.
Just the all or nothing's not just hits. It's like not even hitting the ball at all, like Mike is saying in the comment here.
Yeah, I mean, just quality ABs. And that can go from Little League to Major League Baseball. If you have a quality AB and consistently have quality ABs, I would much rather have you than a guy that strikes out. Oh, home run, strikes out, home run, strike out, strike out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So quality AB, okay, 7 pitches or more per at bat, no matter the outcome, even if you strike out. If your AB is 7 pitches or more, okay, that's a quality at bat, right? Because you grinded the pitcher at the very least. Any kind of hit, that's a quality at bat. Hard contact in the major leagues would be 92, 93 miles an hour exit velo or above, or a walk, or hit by pitch, right? So can you think of any other categories for quality ABs? Those are the ones that I always kept. We always tried to have at least 15 a game in a 7-inning game.
Right. I mean, and I would say, you can go as far as saying any way to get on base. I mean, you could have a quality AB reached on an error. I mean, in my opinion, that's my opinion. If you reach on an error, you did something right. You put the ball in play. You made them mess up. You put pressure on the defense. So yeah, I mean, hard hit balls. I would say even bunts. Bunts are quality ABs. And I know that sounds probably more high school than professional.
Yeah.
But maybe just any way to get on base.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. Okay. And Austin, we'll get to his comment here. And Mike, first of all, he said, great to have Chase back on the show. And yeah, it is great to have Chase back talking baseball. Okay. So, okay. All right. Mike says, I've been saying that for the past few years. Small ball with the occasional home run goes a long way. After the Dodgers lost to the Padres last year, everyone was saying the Dodgers didn't hit enough home runs. I've already covered that. Okay. The team that hit the most home runs weren't the ones winning the games in that series. I actually did a video on that and showed that the home run wasn't the difference in that series. It absolutely that was statistically not the case. Okay, so here's the way I see this, okay? I like to be able to situational hit to score the first run of the game or the first run of the inning. Like, hey, move a runner over, hit a sacrifice fly, bunt a guy over if you need to, whatever, for that first run, because sometimes that first run of the game is the hardest one to score. Then once you score that first run, then let the big dog eat, right? You got the lid off. Now that you got the lid off, especially for an inning, like if you can get 1 run in an inning, then let the big dogs eat, right? Okay? Yeah. Then you might put up 4 or 5. And then I also like to do it for the last run of the game. If 1 run wins a game, like in a close game, like in extra innings, that's where the Dodgers fail. A lot of times they're so boom or bust, they have a hard time scoring that first run, and it's a rough night, and or they can't score that last run because they don't situational hit to do it when only 1 run wins a game. That's where the Dodgers need to get better offensively, in my opinion. Obviously, you don't want the home runs to go away. That's not what I'm saying. But I think you need to wrap the home runs around situations, not necessarily small ball. I don't like giving up outs with bunts. I'm not big on that, unless it's directly scoring a run like Drew Avens does. when you have first and third and he bunts it to first base, the guy from third scored, the guy from first is in scoring position. I like that play because it scores a run. So I'm not real big on just giving up outs with bunting and the small ball part of it that way, but the situational hitting, at the beginning of the game to score the first run, and at the end of the game we needed that one run to win, wrapped around the doubles and home runs and the slugging. That's the formula I like.
Yeah, no, man, I'm with you, and I'll go to a point of reference, just what I've witnessed lately, and more that I've thought about it, the more it makes sense. Is it seems like when I'm coaching my group, when we score first, there is you're so much more relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it's just, even if it's just one run in the first inning or one run in the second inning to take the lead, your pitcher's much more relaxed.
Yeah.
Your hitters are feeling more confident. I mean,
exactly.
And even as a coach, it's just a sigh of relief when you get that first run on the board, because then there's more to come.
Yep.
You've got it figured out.
If you situational hit, not necessarily small ball, but situational hit, maybe a little small ball added in there, and you take the lead, okay, right, the statistics say that you have a better chance of winning that game.
Absolutely. And I've noticed that when we score first, not only is the team more comfortable, but it seems like we come out on top almost every single time we score first. Yep.
No, that's a big stat. Okay, so one of the questions is, do you think Dave Roberts is getting outcoached? Okay, the Dodgers team ERA is 15th in the major leagues at 4.33. Okay, they've had leads that the bullpens leaked out. It's not his fault. Now, he may have left Michael Grove in too long, but he was trying to get length from him so he wouldn't tax the bullpen. In that game, probably by the time it was 7 or 8-3 or nothing or whatever that score was probably over. I don't think it's his fault that Noah Syndergaard has struggled 2 out of his 3 performances. So, I can't blame him maybe for leaving Grove in for as long as he did, but I think the Dodgers are probably going to lose that game anyways. So, for the Syndergaard and the Grove deal, I can't blame him for that. I can't blame him that evanphillips gave up 3 runs the other night. I can't blame him that although Muncy Almonte didn't give up a run from July 4th all the way through the end of last year, he struggled a touch this year. And I can't blame him, although alexvesia was the best left-handed bullpen arm in baseball, he struggled too. So, and I think the front office is the one who constructed the boomer bust type of offensive players. So I'm one that gives very little blame to Dave Roberts as far as this goes.
I'm with you on that, man. And I will say the pitching performance from LA has not been exactly what I thought it was going to be. And I'll just come out and say that I was completely wrong as to what my opinion was. I thought they were going to come and just shove it down everybody's throat, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. Dustin May, he hasn't surprised me. He hasn't at all. I think he's thrown really, really, really well. Urias, same thing, thrown really, really well. Yeah. Syndergaard, I had my hopes up, especially during spring training when it just seemed like nobody could touch him. Yeah. He was ridiculously
although
good.
His velo was down. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then Kershaw, I think Kershaw's doing well, to be honest. I don't.
Yeah, the one outing. And he was doing well up until the 5th inning of that one outing. So.
Right. And he's just getting older. That's just part of the game, man. But one thing that I would have liked to see is Andre Jackson get a start. I'm curious to see how that would go.
It would be Saturday. They could do it.
I think that why not?
In place of Michael Grove.
Yeah. I think you got to give other. And I know it's really, really early, but I want to give guys opportunities, and just see. It's a long, long season. And the faster that you can find, who you think your 1 through 5 are in the starting rotation, the better. I'd like to see Bobby Miller get a start. Of
course, he's not even in Oklahoma City yet.
Right. I don't know. I think that he can make an impact, especially with the fire that he has and things like that. Passion that he plays with. I think
it'll be July or August at the earliest with him. I'll just tell you that.
Yeah, well, I have my hopes up, but I probably shouldn't. But I like I said, I would like to see Andre Jackson.
Yeah, get a start. Okay, and here's the other thing about that. The 4 and 5 slots, as far as pitching goes, they've struggled. Noah Syndergaard, Michael Grove. I don't mean to be negative there. I don't think I am being negative. That's just kind of the truth, right? But Here's why you just kind of got to stay pat and just kind of weather it out, okay? Tony Gonsolin comes back, right? Okay, he's going to be your number 4 starter, and he was basically a Cy Young type pitcher last year, right? Okay, and then Ryan Pepio gets healthy, all right? And Ryan Pepio's ERA is 3.47, which would be, if he just has an ERA when he comes back that is his lifetime ERA in the major leagues, then he's one of the best 5th starters in the league, hands down. And so you could go from having what Syndergaard and Grove have given you to Tony Gonsolin, who was Cy Young caliber last year, and Ryan Pepio, who at 3.5 ERA is the best 5th starter in the game. That's what you could have if and when Gonsolin and Pepio get healthy. And, that's if you don't stick with Noah Syndergaard. Then also Syndergaard could figure it out, and he could start dominating, So that's what you have ahead of you, I think. So that kind of tells you not to panic and just kind of sit tight.
Sure. Yeah, man. And I think that Syndergaard is going to figure it out. I think he's too good and too experienced to not. And he's proven in the past that he's very, very capable of being, one of the top pitchers in the league. So I have no concerns with him at all.
Yeah. Yeah. So then that would move say Syndergaard figures it out and then he becomes your 5th starter, Gonsolin your 4th starter. Then that moves Pepio to the pen. That, so that solves one of your issues there. So I think the help is on the way. I don't think it's time, obviously, to panic or anything like that as far as the bullpen goes. Although, so let me ask you this, Chase. What kind of leash do you give Noah Syndergaard? How many outings do you give him? Let's say that he continues to give up 4 or 5 runs an outing. How long do you give him? And he's still at 93, 94, 95?
Yeah, man. I think you give him a longer leash than you do a young guy.
Yeah.
Simply just because of how good he has been in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So, to put a game limit on it, I don't really know.
Yeah.
I would give him another 10 starts, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I feel like that's fair. I know it's a very long leash.
Yeah, that's 2 months.
But I think if he doesn't figure it out by that point, then you have a problem. But
that's early July.
I think that by that point he'll have it figured out. So that's why I give it that long of a leash.
Yep. Okay. So ERAs, Clayton Kershaw 3.75. Okay. Yeah, that's about, and he's been efficient for the most part.
Yeah.
He's gotten outs quickly, which at the older age is big for him because that's allowed him to extend and get into the 6th inning. Dustin May, dominant, 1.47. I think we both thought that was going to happen, that he's going to have all his feels back from the Tommy John, and, just that unbelievable fastball at sinker is just unreal. Julio Urias, 1.5 ERA, unbelievable. Then here's your 4th and 5th starters. Noah Syndergaard, 6.30. Michael Grove, 14.73. Then your bullpen, guys that have been fantastic. Yency Almonte, 6.23. Okay. Evanphillips, 6.75. Of course, that were all in the last outing. And then brusdargraterol, 6.23. Alexvesia, 9.82. So, okay, it's tough because you got guys that you think over the long run are going to, be fantastic and have been fantastic in the past, but the bullpen's been a little bit leaky, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. And like I said, I don't know what's going to come from it. I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of Oklahoma City starters end up in the bullpen. I also wouldn't be surprised to see him get some starts. In the big league. So I don't know. I don't think it's worrisome at all. You're how many games? 12 games in. You got
150 games left.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any panic button that should be being pressed or anything like that. It's just baseball. That's my best explanation.
Yep. Agree with the advocate of abdicating doing what you do best. A guy like Miguel Rojas shouldn't swing for the fences every time. Be smart with playing baseball while surrounding it by big-time power. Okay. Agree. I think Noah figures things out. I agree with Chase. I thought pitching was going to be solid this year. Probably still will be. Like I said, it's a little bit early. Then got to stay patient with the staff. It's a long season. This is still a solid team with depth. Trade deadline is there if needed, but Gonsolin, Pepio, and other arms are coming. Yeah, we just talked about that. I agree with that. Good evening, Sean. Thanks for joining. I definitely agree. It's still early April. No time to make knee-jerk reactions. That is one of the great things that frustrates the heck out of Dodgers fans, is that this front office is very loyal, and they do not make knee-jerk reactions. And almost sometimes to a fault. Dave Roberts is very loyal to guys that he believes in, almost to a fault. So I don't think you're going to see knee-jerk reactions.
Yeah, no, and I think we'll get into this. I think we're going to get into this a little bit later, but guys like Muncy and Taylor, good grief, man. I think that just goes towards exactly what you're talking about. You know, he's very loyal to guys who he thinks that can produce, that have proved it in the past. I don't think he likes a lot of change. You know, and that can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing.
Well, he's a manager. He doesn't like unpredictability.
Right.
You know, even if it's not great, he just wants to know what's coming. You know?
Yeah.
Which with Muncy and Taylor, sometimes you can't tell what's coming, but yeah, we'll get into that here in just a minute. Okay, so I do think you need to monitor. Okay, so you don't make knee-jerk reactions. You don't just start making but you do every day have to evaluate the process. Like, okay, so what is the process that's made us 6-6? What's the process that we need to evaluate to make us a World Series type team? You got to evaluate that 4th and 5th starter spot, and you got to figure out, hey, what's the end game for this? You know, I think right now you need to be kind of what we're doing. You need to be figuring out what's the leash for Noah Syndergaard. Hey, we all believe in him. We all think he's going to be fine. But having said that, right now that's not the case. And so you need to have a plan together. Hey, what is our leash we put on this? What's the end date to this, to where we can make a decision as far as what our future is going to be, to figure out the 4th or 5th spot in the rotation, depending on which way you go. Then you got to figure out, hey, you know, what's Pepio going to give you, Tony Gonsolin? If Gonsolin and Syndergaard are both, you know, so I think, although you don't make knee-jerk reactions, I think as the front office, you got to be at least having these conversations right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm 100% right behind you. Mike, I don't have any concern with Noah Syndergaard. Like I said, I think that he's going to figure it out, and that's why I said 10 games, and I know that that's a ton. I know that, I know that that's 2 months. It's
early July.
2 months of work, but you know, I wouldn't be surprised by that point if he's there number 2. Could be number 2, could be number 3.
Yeah. Okay, so let's say that the Dodgers at some point, okay, so I don't think right now they're even thinking about their bullpen because, like I said, you know, I mean, Yency Almonte was fantastic. Okay, alexvesia, evanphillips, fantastic. Caleb Ferguson's looked really good. Okay, and Andre Jackson, he's had the one outing that he gave up some runs, but other than that, he's been fantastic. So I don't think that the front office is even thinking about their bullpen in terms of anything like, hey, we need to fix this or that. But let's say that they get to a point to where they feel like they need to. Okay, so here are some of the candidates in Oklahoma City. Nick Robertson, Mark Washington, Justin Brule, who has major league innings with the Dodgers. Victor Gonzalez has looked really good lately. Justin Hageman, who's very underrated, kind of a three-quarter slot guy out of Penn State. Adam Kalorick, who, if they still had the one, if you didn't have to face 3 hitters now, he still would be that loogie guy, that one, you know, that one hitter left-hander type guy. And then Taylor Scott, the South African, with that really neat three-quarter slot. So out of that pick, let's say that you needed to bring up 1, maybe 2 guys. Who's your first pick there?
Nick Robertson.
Yeah. He's dirty.
12 Ks and 7.1 innings with 1.23 ERA is that's high quality. And then number 2, Brule. Just
so you bring a righty and a lefty,
right? Major league experience.
So you bring Brule over Gonzalez. Oh, Victor was pretty good in 2020.
I know. I'm thinking in terms of Dave Roberts. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if it's Brule. But Nick Robertson has been phenomenal.
Yep. Okay, so here's something. And, of course, Austin Barnes caught the last pitch of the 2020 World Series. And I don't think the Dodgers would have won the World Series without him, because I just think defensively they needed Austin Barnes, that veteran type, just not leadership is probably too strong of a word, but just presence, I think, is what Austin Barnes brought that 2020 team. And so he was hugely valuable, and the Dodgers have been hugely loyal to him because of that. So here you got a guy named Hunter Fiducia, and I put out a video of him throwing down today, who had a fantastic spring training, right? Okay, and now he's hitting 294. His OPS is 1166. Of course, nobody in the Dodgers minor league catchers, that nobody throws anybody out because they don't hold runners. Okay, so this guy has already, he's already like 25. Okay, he played at LSU. He's come through the system. He finished last year. He played the last half of last year in AAA. Do you just leave Hunter Fiducia in AAA all year?
Man, I don't know. I think at some point you have to give him a chance to prove himself, to see what he can do at the next level. And that doesn't mean, keep him up there for the rest of the season. But I think give him a couple games and see what he does. I mean, yeah. if he can produce.
So you carry 3 catchers?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, does Fiducia have a secondary position?
Not really. I don't think I've ever seen him play another position. It would be Barnes that would be moving like to second base or something.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe you could do that.
The question would be, is Fiducia's arm stronger than Barnes? Probably, yeah. Okay. I wouldn't say either one of them have rockets or howitzers or anything. Okay. Do you dare? Where I'm getting to? Do you dare consider moving Barnes?
I think if it gets
and bringing Fiducia up as your backup.
I think if it gets
knowing that Diego Cartaya and or Dalton Rushing is your future, if you move Will Smith maybe to third base, DH first base, something like that.
You could do that, or you could look at even trading him and just seeing what you could get. I mean, I don't know if you could get anybody real great. I mean, I think you could get a pretty decent
prospects,
a pretty decent prospect, if not 2. And I mean, I don't know Major League Baseball well enough to know who needs a catcher.
Everybody.
I think he could.
You know baseball well enough to know that, Chase.
You can never have enough of them.
Hey, Mike will tell you that, yeah.
But man, I think you have to give Fiducia a shot at some point. And
I agree.
I hope that it doesn't happen because it's already happened to Gavin Lux. But you never know if somebody's going to get hurt. And he's definitely a good third guy to have, in my opinion. So I mean, I don't know. You just that's a tough
question.
That's a tough question to answer.
Yeah, Sean says playing Barnes at second base will allow LA to carry 3 catchers, which more teams are doing. Yeah, and it would also, it would give Miguel Vargas, it would give the team the ability to give Miguel Vargas some calculated days off. So, yeah, and of course, Hunter Fiducia, I don't think he's on the 40-man either. So I think that would be, you'd have to DFA somebody or put somebody on the 60-day, which the Dodgers can do. I mean, we've seen them do that in the past. So that, the Hunter Fiducia thing, that's one of the most interesting things for me as far as, and do you just, as well as he's playing, do you just leave him in AAA? And then again, okay, Cleveland and Milwaukee would love to have Barnes as a backup. Anyone with a bat first catcher would love to have him. Totally agree. That's kind of what the Dodgers have. They have a bat first catcher with Will Smith, which is what makes Austin Barnes so valuable to the club. Okay, so all right, let's get to my big beef, Michael Busch. Okay, he's hitting 333. I actually misspoke because he got a hit today. I believe he has hits in 16 of his last 17 games. 7 in a row. Had a double today. 333 OPS, 834. How do you get him incorporated?
Man, I think if Taylor continues to struggle, man, you've got to go some other route. And I'm not saying
Muncy's the one that's blocking him, in my opinion, because you
can
move Vargas to third and Busch to second.
Right. I'm thinking offensively, Muncy has more upside than Christaylor right now. If you look at numbers, Muncy's a little bit better than Taylor. Taylor's stinking it up. I mean, and
Hmm.
there's no if and or but about that. But I do see what you're saying, and I mean, I think if Michael Bush is going to come up, he's going to play second base, and I think you're going to have to move Miguel Vargas to
I
third.
agree. I agree.
Vargas is doing too good to take out of the lineup right now, and I know he's a rookie, but that's exactly what you want to see,
Yeah.
a rookie being
Struggling a little
successful.
bit with the average, but I think people are seeing the plate discipline and the average. If you're swinging at the right pitches, as good as he is, I think the average will come up. So
Absolutely, yeah. No, I mean,
yeah,
I would like to see Michael Bush. I mean, I'm trying to keep my personal opinion of Muncy out of it when I'm
yeah,
talking about
understood.
this. I'm not a big fan.
Yeah,
Uh,
of the
and
boomer bust type offensive player. Yeah,
correct,
yeah.
and that's exactly what he is. You know, he hit two
Yeah.
home runs, whatever day that
He'll
was.
hit four in one game, and then he'll go a week and go over and strike out every at bat. That's
Yeah,
frustrating. From a coach's perspective, that's frustrating. And then
absolutely.
you look up, and the stats are good enough to keep him in the lineup, but then 5 out of the 6 days you're getting absolutely nothing, and then the sixth day you're getting about 7 more RBIs than you actually need to win the game.
Yeah.
I mean, are you
Well,
following what I'm saying?
and I think that's why you're 6-6. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to be a
No,
Debbie
that's
Downer,
exactly right.
but
Yeah.
I mean, you can't have so much streakiness in your lineup, especially at the four spot,
Yeah.
especially at the four spot.
Yeah. Good point there. Yeah, good point.
You know, and I wonder if you change the lineup up a little bit, put him further down in the lineup, see if he does something a little bit better. But
Yeah.
you cannot have that streakiness in your top four hitters. There's no
Yeah.
way. You're not going
Yeah.
to find any success.
I agree. And like, what's the difference between winning 2-1 and 3-1 versus 11-1?
Right.
Right. So if your big days are coming and adding, say your team's already winning 3-1, and your big day, your 3 home runs are coming to add it to go from 3 to 11. Is that really helping your team? Does it make sense? And then the next 6 days you're doing nothing in games that your teams really need you to hit. That's the frustrating part of it.
And it seems like the streakiness, it seems like the success comes when it's not needed. I mean, honestly,
Correct. That's
know?
kind of where well, not necessarily not needed, but it comes in so much of a bunch that maybe the first part of it's needed, but then the next 80% of it's not. Save the rest of the 80% for the rest of the week's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, and I it's the Muncy hitting the two home runs in a game, or was it? It was two, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, hitting the two home runs in the game was the best and worst thing that could have happened to that sucker. Because now that's all he's going to try to do because he's done it. He's done it. But at the same time, hopefully that brought a little bit of confidence. But then you turn back around and you strike out 4 times. I mean, it's what do you, I don't.
You're like a great fan because you have the great coach's perspective, but then you also have the emotional fan aspect of things. It's like the perfect thing to listen to. I love listening to you talk about Dodgers baseball because it's just fascinating hearing your perspective as far as the coaching part of it, but then the trying to mix that with your emotions. It's awesome to listen to.
I'm doing my best here. It's
cool.
like I have two people on both shoulders. They're both speaking, and I'm hearing both of them, and I'm trying to incorporate.
Yeah, this
it all.
show's supposed to bring out a little bit of both of them. Yeah, okay. It sucks, but I'm not convinced Fiducia gets an opportunity for LA unless there's an injury. He deserves it, but it might have to be elsewhere. Otherwise, they may manipulate service time. Totally agree.
Yeah,
That sucks. Because Hunter Fiducia needs to be in the major leagues right now.
No, he does, and he deserves it. Being a fan, being a fan of minor league players. Obviously, I'm a big Oklahoma City Dodgers fan, big Tulsa Drillers, whatever. But you and I have talked about it before. We want to see these guys play where they deserve to play, which is.
By the way, you need to give me your schedule as far as when you want to go. I'm going to put them on media credentials tomorrow and Friday for Oklahoma City and Tulsa. So
okay,
let me know when you want to go, and I'll put those in.
Awesome. I know this is completely off topic, and I hope my brother doesn't watch this, but his birthday was yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So we are.
My sister's is tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah.
We're getting together on Saturday because baseball is obviously a big part of both of our lives. We're both real busy in it. But I got him tickets. Myself, my fiance, and his girlfriend. We're gonna go watch the LA Dodgers play the Rangers
Oh, very
July
cool.
23rd.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
So
That's fantastic. That's
hopefully,
fantastic.
hopefully he doesn't
Do you
watch
have a
this until
trunk?
Sunday. Do what?
Do you have a trunk
What do
that
you
I
mean?
could catch a ride in?
Oh, well, I mean,
How
we
about the
could
back of your
probably.
pickup? I could ride in the back of your pickup.
Well, I'll give you a seat. Maybe we'll just have to do the. I
No, I
sit
don't
on
need
your
a seat,
shoulders
man. Just throw me in your 8-foot bed. Give me a blanket to throw over my head so I don't get windy. And hey, it'll be about 80 degrees that day, so we're all good, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. No, man, I'm looking forward to that, and I think that'll be the first time I've ever seen the Dodgers play in person. So
Yeah,
I'm
really.
excited about that.
I went and watched them in the old, the ballpark in Arlington, the old ballpark. I saw them about 5 or 6 years ago there.
That's
Really cool experience.
that is one of my favorite parks ever.
Oh yeah, well, it's what Bricktown was patterned after. You know, Bricktown is basically a miniature because at that time Oklahoma City was the AAA affiliate of the Rangers,
Right.
and they basically built Bricktown to be exactly like the ballpark in Arlington, but just a miniature version of it. And it is,
Yeah.
it's nice.
And I mean, it's ballpark in Arlington, man. It's beautiful. I
Yeah,
don't know if
not
you've been to
anymore.
Globe. No, I don't know if you've been to Globe Life yet, but it's phenomenal as well.
It's too excessive. I mean, what do you need that for?
Yeah.
I mean, I just kind of
Um,
look around going, why do you need this for a baseball game? Of course, I'm different. I don't need the swimming pools and the $12 beers, and I don't need all the different liquor options and all this all cool crap. What I need is a damn good seat that's not $600 and just sit there and let me watch the game. That's all I
yeah.
need.
I will say
And
that
for me,
so-
the new facilities don't do that for me. But
No, I get you 100%. I will say that last year we went and watched the Big 12 tournament for a little bit, which was at Globe Life. Caught a couple games, and I will tell you that sitting there in mid-May, when the dome is closed and it is 72 degrees, is much more nice than it is when it's 96 with no wind and you're getting
you're a
toasted.
city boy. No, I totally agree with you on that. Totally agree with you. And okay, Sean says Will Smith is actually above average defensively in many categories the last couple of years. I think his pop time is, I think he, on a good, if he had a good year, his pop time could go below 2. We've got less than 1 minute here, so hey, I think we're going to go ahead. The Dodgers are playing right now, so I think we're going to. Do you have any final thoughts, Chase?
Not really, man. I just think that the fans, as fans, we should not be worried just yet. There's
Yeah.
a whole lot of baseball left. The pitchers are going to pick it up. I think we're going to be just fine.
All right, fans, just a reminder, if you like this video, click the like button. And hey, don't forget, there is a donate feature now in the description if you'd like to help Dodgers Dogs continue to grow, Dodgers Daily continue to grow. Consider donating if you would like to. If not, no big deal. But other than that, hey, I'd like to say thank you for tuning in, and go Dodgers.